You're listening to Azeroth Times Classic. I'm Chris, and with me is Brandon.
Here I am.
Yep, here you are. Here you is. Alright, we're gonna jump off into the... What have you been doing in the game?
Oh, let's see. Not a ton. Mainly just the same stuff. Been raiding Old War 10 man. Doing some 25-man Old War. I did actually run a 10 man, and I tanked it for the first time. Main tanked it
Oh,
for the first time the other day, yesterday, and that was rather interesting to say the least. Found out some of the bosses that I couldn't. That it's going to be really hard for me to tank, and some of the bosses are really easy for me to tank. And then found out that trash is really hard to keep aggro on as a bear druid by yourself,
and
especially when you got people pumping.
druids right now are trash tanking.
Well, it's just they took the taunt away, so or not the taunt, but the dodge away.
Yeah, dodge.
So I mean, it's just a little bit,
I'm
mitigation's
just
a little bit
messing
harder.
with you.
Mitigation is a little bit harder, but as far as just the tanking and stuff, there were some things I had to learn. So I went and looked up a couple of macros, made a couple of macros for myself, and then I went and looked up. A buddy of mine showed me a website that you can simulate your tune on. You can put all your gear, and it's a robot playing your tune to perfection, more or less. So it simulates it and tells you how much DPS you do, or you have a chance to do with that gear on. So it's wowsims.github.io is the website that you can use, and it sims everything for you to where your character, it's like a robot playing it to the perfection. So learning that and the other things that I learned yesterday was pretty insightful on for myself, just to better myself as a druid overall, being whether it be tanking or boomkin or whatever. So it was pretty good. It was a pretty insightful day, to say the least.
Well, I've been questing, getting some gold. Not really in the coming back yet. I want to get some more gold. That way I can get in some GDKPs.
Oh, and I've been stealing gold from Chris.
Yes, and he's been stealing the gold I've been making by questing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I appreciate that, by the way.
I always got your back, buddy.
Yeah. So, I decided I'm going to start questing on my horde tunes because he can't get my gold from over there. But no, I have been big questing on my horde tunes, getting some of them up. Oh, did I finish leveling my warrior up?
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to look here in a second. But so I've been questing. You've been raiding. You've been thinking about moving your mage over.
Yeah, I've got a couple of tunes that
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier today.
we talked about. Yeah, I've got the mage, or
We might. I don't know. I was thinking about tag teaming your shaman, but it's up to you.
I mean, we could move the shaman over. I want to.
No.
I think I want to go elemental with him.
No. Tag teaming your 30 shaman.
Oh, gotta buy gear for him.
What? Oh.
He's just gotta have gear because remember he's just he's no geared whatsoever.
Yeah, I forgot I was running him through stuff on my mage. So I wasn't paying for boost. I was doing it. And that was back before they nerfed it. I was running through Scarlet Monastery back at, what was I doing? I was doing the cathedral and the armory back and forth with my mage, and then they nerfed it. You can still do it, but you have to run it like 5 to 10 times to the one time now.
Before, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah.
It's not worth it. But I think with that shaman, I want to go elemental. I don't want to go enhancement. I think I want to go elemental. So either elemental or healing. But that can be figured out at 80.
Yeah. But
the only times I think you would play when I'm not on would be in the mornings because you get up way earlier than I do.
Yeah, and only on weekends. Weekends you're hardly ever on.
Sunday would be a great day to do it.
Yeah. Sundays are definitely your family day, so
yeah
I might do it on Sundays, and then maybe get your mage over because you got one empty spot. Get your mage over there, and that way you can play it until I get your shaman up.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll dedicate one day a week to leveling the shaman as well.
Yeah.
I could dedicate like a Saturday or something to it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm hopefully getting somebody to work for me on Saturdays. Hopefully soon.
That's what you're telling me.
Cross my fingers. I probably just jinxed the hell out of it. So now, if I'm off on Saturdays, hopefully soon, I might actually run some hardcore. And if you're up for it, we might just, if there's nothing going on, then we might just do a couple of hardcore tunes.
Yeah, throw a duo together.
Yep. And we can stream it. And so details on that hopefully coming soon.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, so let's quit talking about ourselves and let's go to the news. I'm going to start off with BlizzCon 2023 details to be revealed within 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, we're going to find out about BlizzCon. So Mike Ybarra once again took to Twitter to share BlizzCon 2023 news is coming soon, roughly within 2 weeks. Players have been very curious. And tickets usually go on sale in April. Well, it's May, so he said on Twitter, okay, yes. I see all the BlizzCon questions. You'll hear more in the next 2 weeks. We're excited. We have a lot to show and celebrate together. I can't wait. So, I'm going to try to get us both tickets.
The virtual?
Yeah. Well, no. To BlizzCon.
Yeah.
And we'll just drive. Hey,
drive there.
You have your license. We can tag team the drive.
And we really could.
Yeah. I don't have to go, I really don't want to drive that far, buy us plane tickets. But now I'm like, whoo, we can tag team that biatch. So, all right. So, really, there's nothing about that, but we're hoping. So, free character transfers for select realms. Oh. You can go, Mizrael is on there. Atiesh and Oblanchi, those are dead servers, I think. If I remember. Anger Forged can go to Whitemane, Aranicus, and Sulfurus. Sulfur. Yeah, that one. Sky Fury can go to Whitemane, Aranicus, and Sulfurus. Yeah. Earth Fury, same three. Mizrael can go to Atiesh, Oblanchi, and then Baladeth can go to Atiesh and Ash Candy. And Azure Song can go to Atiesh and Oblanchi. And that's it. Okay. So, if you're on those, you can free transfer. Alright, I'm going to let you talk about this Glyph of Omen Clarity.
Omen of Clarity. It's called Glyph of Omen of Clarity, added with the Rats of the Lich King Classic 3.4.2. It's in the PTR right now, which means it's going to be coming to live servers soon. So it's here's kind of what it says. Blizzard has added a new glyph for Druids in Wrath of the Lich King Classic patch 3.4.2 PTR, Glyph of the Omen of Clarity. The effect will be what the previous Feral Druid changes were, which what the previous changes were is you cast Fairy Fire and you got an Omen of Clarity proc, which is more or less whatever spell you cast next, whatever ability you cast, whether it be bear or cat, whatever, is free. Doesn't charge any energy, rage, mana, nothing. So, but now it's going to but now requires feral druids to glyph it, meaning there will be some trade-off to get the effect. Now, what the trade-off they're talking about is, for instance, for druids, you have a glyph, and I'm glad I was actually still on, so I can talk about the glyphs you have. Right now, for like bear druids, for instance, you have to have Glyph of Mangle, which increases your damage done by your Mangle. You have Glyph of Survival Instincts, that grants an additional 15% of your maximum health. And Glyph of Maul, which hits an additional target. So you're going to take one of those three away to add the Glyph of Omen of Clarity to it in order to get the same effect that we're getting now. So it says new Glyph of Omen of Clarity. Your Omen of Clarity talent has a 100% chance to be triggered by successfully casting Fairy Fire Feral. It does not trigger on players or player-controlled pets. So what that means is, when I cast Fairy Fire Feral, I get the Omen of Clarity proc, and I don't have to have a glyph. But if once the change happens, I'm going to have to glyph it to where Omen of Clarity still procs 100% of the time when I'm casting Fairy Fire, which really kind of, for lack of a better term, pisses me off, because they're taking away one of my glyphs that helps me do damage and helps me hold aggro to do something that they've already changed right now, and it's not hurting anything. I think the reason they're wanting to make this change and make it a glyph is because right now feral druids are doing an absorbent amount of damage, and they really jumped really high with their damage on Wrath. So they're going to add this glyph in order for us to have to change a few things around, just to trade off a little bit of DPS, but to get the same effect we're having now. I don't like the change, but it is what it is. Nothing we can do to change it.
Alright. I just had 13 tunes on one server, and I can still create more, so I think they might have removed the maximum amount of tunes per... sorry, I'm throwing that in there to the podcast. It was something me and him was talking about earlier about how many tunes he can have on the server. And I thought it was like 10 or 11, but I guess they removed it.
Maybe upped it to like 15.
Probably. I think I remember we talked about that before, where they either removed or made it like 15 or 20 or something like that. And my warrior, all my tunes on the Alliance server are 80, which is one of every class. Class, right? Yeah, class.
Oh, you did the damn thing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how you level so fast.
Because I'd been leveling them for ever since we started.
Yeah, I know. I have a 75 paladin. I just can't figure out where to go to leveling the rest of the way.
Alright, so we'll move on to the PTR vendors won't be updated for May 5th testing for the PTR for 3.4.2. There's a blue post from Blizzard saying, "Greetings, this is mentioned in our PTR update notes, but I want to take a quick moment to call out that we will not be updating PTR vendors this week. We may add some Ulduar gear to vendors next week for a future test, but for this test, we'd like players to use their actual gear from copied characters and not stack up full BIS 252 gear for this test. This is unfortunate for PTR testers who may be behind on current content or whom haven't played recently. But for this first test, we'd like it to be as realistic as possible in terms of the gear folks are using. Some people are likely already in full Ulduar BIS, and that's fine, but most players are not." I think they want to kind of see how people are doing with the gear they already have.
So they know if they need to nerf.
Yeah.
That's why they know if they need to nerf it or not, probably.
I think it's secretly saying if you're not in full BIS gear and you're going to be clearing this stuff easy in the gear you're not, or in the gear you have, and it's not full BIS, then we need to do something.
Yeah, for sure.
And then next week, if people are putting all their BIS gear and stuff, and they're totally wiping it, or clearing the whole thing, then they know they need to up it. Or if they can't clear nothing, then they only nerf it. I think that's what they're trying to figure out.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, and the whole thing with that is there's not a whole lot of guilds right now that are actually fully BISed out, unless you're a very, very sweaty guild.
Yeah.
So, they want to, I think with Classic and the way it's coming around, they know that they have a lot of casual players now. They have a lot of dad guilds, stuff like that aren't clearing the content like the other sweaty guilds are.
Yeah.
So they're wanting to give everybody the chance to, to get to play, I think. So maybe they're doing that just to maybe equal it out a little bit, because they are going to have, the 10-mans and heroics and all that jazz as well. So, yeah, I think maybe they might want to be doing that for the sole purpose of everybody being able to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah. Now we'll go to Classic Patch 3.42 or 3.4.2 update notes for May the 4th be with you, or May the 4th, 2023.
Today's the day after.
Yeah. Today, we're recording this on the 5th. I don't know when I'll get it out. Hopefully tonight. Not too much editing I gotta do, so. Oh, no, I'll mention that at the end. Alright, so,
right.
testing Trial of the Crusader. The Trial of the Crusader and Trial of the Grand Crusader 10 and 25 player raids will be available for testing starting Friday, May 5th at 11 a.m. and will remain available until Monday, May 8th at 10 a.m. To access the raid, you'll need to travel to Northeastern Icecrown and enter the raid dungeon via the portal at the Argent Tournament grounds. To facilitate testing, we have re-enabled character copy for characters to copy their live characters, and starter level 80 characters may be created using the available templates. Please note that vendors have not been updated with Ulduar loot for this testing period, which we've already talked about. Trial of the Crusader, normal mode, share lockout with Trial of the Grand Crusader, heroic mode. Okay. What? I kind of understand that, but kind of not. But you may dynamically swap from normal to heroic and back again with the same raid size. Okay.
So you don't have to do all hard modes. You can do some normal and some hard.
Just like I think what Icecrown was back in vanilla.
But they won't allow you to do a full 10-man normal clear and then go and do a 10-man heroic mode clear.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah, which is what Icecrown was back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, exactly. For example, if your raid group clears the raid up through faction champions on heroic mode, it may swap to normal mode to complete the instance on normal, which is the opposite of what you just said.
You can do it on heroic or normal. That's up through faction champions. The faction champions is a boss.
Oh, okay.
It's the PvP, more or less a PvP boss. It's got like 5 or so.
Oh, complete the. Okay, so you can. They were saying you can go to this boss and then swap and then finish it if you want to. Okay, which is exactly what you did just say. Okay, I was thinking that was the end. I don't. My mind went totally somewhere else, so I apologize for that.
I was going to explain it to you in the next bullet point.
You may also do this difficulty swapping on a per boss basis. Using example above, you may clear up through the faction champions or heroic to swap to normal for the Twin Valley encounter, then swap back to heroic for the Anubarak encounter. So, say you go to you can complete up to the second or third boss on normal. Or on heroic. You can do it. It's easy. You can do it on heroic. No problems whatsoever. But then you get to the next boss and you keep wiping. Wipe. Swap it to normal. Do it. And then go back to heroic or keep on normal.
Yep. Exactly right.
Because if your guild is having problems on this one boss, go normal and then move on as heroic.
Yep.
Please do note that in order to be eligible for Tribute to Insanity and the additional Tribute chest and rewards, you must do the entire Trial of the Grand Crusader raid on heroic difficulty in that same lockout. So you can't do all the bosses on heroic and do one boss in the middle on normal or the last boss on normal. You will not get the Tribute chest and rewards. 10 and 25 player versions of the raid are still separate lockouts that do not impact one another at all. So you can do 10 player on one night and then 25 player on another night. And you can do heroic and normal on each one of those. Swapping back and forth. But you can't do all normal and then all heroic on either one. The requirement to have cleared Trial of Grand Crusader before attempting Trial of Grand Crusader has been removed. Oh, I think I might have said Trial of Grand Crusader twice. The requirement to have cleared Trial of the Crusader before attempting Trial of the Grand Crusader has been removed.
For the PTR?
Yeah. I kind of remember that, but is it going to be in the regular?
I'm thinking they may have done it just on the PTR in order to allow people to try the hard modes.
I guess we'll find out. Alright, so Nixie's Lair, the level 80 version of Nixie's Lair raid is available for testing now and will remain open for the duration of the current PTR testing period. Now, I didn't do Nixie's Lair in actual vanilla. I did it in Wrath Vanilla. And that's the only time I ever did it. And this time around, with Classic, I didn't do it in the, when it first came out. So I'll have the chance to go back now again. The level 80 version of Nixie's Lair is now the default version of the raid. However, players may speak to Zendormi outside of Nixie's Lair to gain a time traveling buff that enables access to the level 60 classic version of the raid. Now, this was not back in vanilla at all. You could not go to the level 60 version of the raid.
Well, I think though what that's going to do is that's going to also bring your characters down to that level. Maybe. Ooh. I don't think they're going to let you do it.
I don't know. I don't think so.
What would be the point in doing the level 60?
We talked about it before. The time traveling thing last week.
Yeah, but I just don't understand what
I don't remember exactly what it was. Can you go back while I read more?
I can look at it, but I don't think it said. It didn't say. I remember talking about it and looking at it, and it didn't say.
Okay.
It didn't say that you would be level 60 or not. It just said the same pretty much thing as that it said right there.
To remove this buff and access the level 80 version again, simply speak to Zadormi again to remove it. Now, Argent Tournament construction has been completed. All new quests and dailies are now available at this hub in northeastern Icecrown. Cool. Titan Rune Dungeons Defense Protocol Beta. This content is not available for testing, but is coming soon. Owl of Conquest. This content is not available for testing, but is coming soon. There's a bunch of bug fixes. And I'm not going to get into all those because there's a lot. Some user interface fixes, art and environment, raids and dungeons.
Well, the big thing is metagems may no longer be swapped in combat. That's a huge one.
Where's that at? Oh. Well, you
it's
said
part of the bug fixes.
Oh, okay. A new vendor has been added to Dalaran, the animated constellation. This vendor will now exchange items from Oldawar 10-player hard mode for a new Sidereal Essence currency.
Yeah.
The newest iteration of Titan Rune Dungeon is not yet available for testing, but when it becomes available, we'll do a full breakdown of this vendor and how rewards in Defense Protocol beta will function. Okay. So we can look at their gear, look at the stuff, but we can't really get it, I guess. Alright, with the release of Trial of the Crusader, Ulduar items drops will be adjusted. Ulduar 10 normal mode items now drop for Defense Protocol beta bosses in Titan Rune dungeons. Ulduar 25 normal mode items now drop from Ulduar 10. Ulduar 10 hard mode items still drop for Ulduar 10 hard modes. Ulduar 25 hard mode items still only drop from Ulduar 25 hard modes. Okay. But, so you can run Ulduar 10 normal to get the Ulduar 25 normal drops.
Yes. Yes.
And you get Ulduar 10 normal modes in the dungeons.
Yes.
Well, Titan Rune dungeons.
Titan Rune dungeons, or AKA Heroic Plus, if you will.
Okay, that's about it for that. So, I'll let you talk about the Titan Rune dungeons.
So, the reason I want to talk about this is just so I can clarify what they're talking about with Titan Rune dungeons. This is what they originally posted, kind of about what they were or what they are. Titan Rune dungeons are an entirely new mechanic that did not exist in the original Wrath of Lich King. Blizzard implemented this new feature as both new content and as a catch-up mechanic. The Titan Rune dungeons have been described as Heroic Plus by the community, as the enemies and bosses inside Titan Rune dungeons will have increased damage, increased health, and brand new mechanics. So what you do is when you enter a dungeon, there's a little floating orb, or not a floating orb, a floating disc of some sort that you can touch. And if you when you touch it, it gives you the chance to select and activate Defense Protocol. So what that does is that essentially makes it a Heroic Plus. Now, once the mysterious device has been activated, the entrance of the Heroic Dungeon, a specific empowered rune will be a buff on all enemies inside the instances, trash enemies, and bosses. Depending on what Heroic Dungeon you are in, a specific empowered rune will activate, typically matching the theme of the dungeon. So it does show on here, if you go to Wowhead, it does show what each dungeon does, what their empowerment is. And I'll tell you right now, the most hateful and downright disgusting empowerment is if you do any of the Azul Narub or Ankahat, the Old Kingdom Heroic Pluses. For one, it increases damage increased by 30%, health is increased by 100%, but their empowered rune that they have is called Shadow Rune. Let's see. Proc chances have a 35%, 30-second cooldown, whatever. But attacks have a chance to web wrap a victim, which means anytime you're getting attacked in the instance, no matter what, there's a chance they could web wrap everybody in your group. And if everybody gets web wrapped, then you're just sitting there and you can't break anybody out and everybody dies.
Yeah.
I mean, so you have to. It's really for that instance. It's really smart to bring in a bunch of people who can cleave, and just cleave down the web wraps as they come up. Now, the Titan Rune dungeon rewards: defeating the final boss encounter in the daily heroic dungeon on Titan Rune difficulty will reward a bounty satchel, which currently contains 3 emblems of conquest, and only one person in the group can win the bag. So if you got somebody that's trying to catch up, you can just do the daily heroic each day and funnel them satchels. Bosses in Titan Rune dungeons drop the same type of emblems as regular heroic dungeons, which are the emblems of valor. So Defense Protocol Alpha, bosses inside the Titan Rune dungeons that have Defense Protocol Alpha active will drop their regular table loots as well as additional loot from 10-player. For this, for instance, right now is from 10-player next. Final bosses in each Titan Rune dungeon will drop item level 213 loot from 10-player Kel'Thuzad, 10-player Malagos, and 10-player Sartharian loot tables. Loot table information is uploaded, onto Wowhead so you can check it. And there are also Titan Rune dungeon achievements. You can get dungeon achievements for doing each one of the instances on Heroic Plus, more or less. So the reason I brought it up for this, what they're doing right now, is this is the same thing they're going to do when Trial of the Crusader comes out. You're going to have to do a heroic, what they call, I think it's Protocol Beta, Defense Protocol Beta, I think is what it's called. Let's see here, yeah. Because it says Elduar 10-man normal mode items now drop from Defense Protocol Beta bosses in the Titan Rune dungeon. So it's essentially going to be the same thing. You're going to have to run Heroic Plus, but you'll be able to get 10-man Elduar loot out of those, so you don't have to actually run 10-man Elduar anymore. Or not for the 10-man loot. You'll run 10-man Elduar for 25-man Elduar loot now.
Normal.
So
normal.
That's I just wanted to bring up the Titan Rune dungeon overview and things like that.
Yeah.
Just to kind of let you guys know exactly what it was you were looking at, if you end up having to do it or you want to do it.
Yeah. It's good to know. Very good to know, because I need to actually do some of those. I might actually get you to run some of those with me. I just need to figure out which tune I want to do. I really want to get back into tanking again, but
don't have a healer?
I didn't say you had to heal.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying I don't have a healer.
Yeah.
I
just don't. I want to get back into tanking, but I don't know if everybody and their dog is a paladin tank right now, because that's what it was whenever I kind of quit playing. Because it seemed like it seemed like everybody was a paladin tank. And if I remember correctly, the ret paladins were kind of at the bottom of the DPS charts. Are they still there?
Who is it?
Ret paladins, are they at the bottom of the DPS charts, I think?
Until you learn how to play them and you learn their rotations, ret paladins they're low, but
yeah,
any character is low if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, if you get somebody really good playing one of those bottom tunes, they can probably get close to the top, if not the top.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, all right, and we also have Children's Week going on. Go get your children.
Yeah.
Now, get your pets if you want. It started on May 1st and it ends May the 8th. So if you listen to this after the 8th, I'm sorry you dropped the ball. And yeah, if this comes out after the 8th, I'm sorry we dropped the ball. So
probably.
I'm just glad they took that one out where achievement for taking your tune out or your child out in the battleground.
Oh yeah, so they can watch the slaughter.
I always thought that was messed up. Yeah.
Yeah, they. I don't know. I've done them. I just completed the last one, which is the TBC one. So, yeah, there's one for each era. One for each era of Wrath. There's one for Stormwind,
like Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and then Shat, and then Dalaran. Yeah.
Yes. Each one of them give you a pet based on the era that you were in, or that you did that quest for.
Yeah. So Stormwind or Orgrimmar has Piglet's Collar, Rat Cage, and Turtle Box. TBC has Egbert's Egg, Sleepy Willy, or One-Eyed Willy, what I like to call it, and Elec Training Collar. And then Dalaran has Curious Oracle Hatchling and the Curious Wolvar Pup.
Yep.
I might get the pup.
I got the Oracle.
Yeah, you suck. Okay. Somebody wants to join the podcast. All right.
Yeah, he's being dumb today.
All right, so I heard a rumor.
A rumor?
Yeah, you found a add-on.
An add-on?
Yeah.
An add-on?
So you got an add-on you want to talk about?
Yes, I do. Let me, first off, kind of what it does. I'll give you a little overview of what it does, and then I'll give you the name and more things on it. But it's essentially an add-on that mainly gives you the rotation that you want to do in the spec that you're in. Just makes it
What's the
very.
name? What's the name of that on?
I'm about to say that. You gotta give me a second.
But I want to know what it is now.
I've got to get a. Actually, I'll just tell you what the name of the add-on is. I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place. I was in the game and I could have just went to add-ons. The actual add-on. Let me get the name of it because it's called Hekli, Hekili. Is what the name of the add-on is called.
Where is? There it is. Okay.
And what it does is it essentially, depending on what class you are, for instance, I'm a druid and I got pumpkin, or I'm a tank, either one. What it does is it gives you a bar and it presets more or less what you need to do. So more or less, it dumbs down your class so much. If you know what the spell looks like and you know what button it is on your keys, all you got to do is hit that button. Like for instance, mine will show Wrath, and I'll Wrath. You know, it'll tell me to Fairy Fire while I'm in Boomkin. It'll tell me Fairy Fire, Insect Swarm, Moonfire, and then Wrath until I get the Lunar proc, and then it switches to doing Starfire, and it's Starfire. And while it's doing this, it's also telling you when to hit Fairy Fire again if it's falling off, or when to hit Starfire or Moonfire again if that debuff or that dot's falling off.
How do you spell
or
it again?
It tells you Hekili. Or it tells you when to hit
Hekli Priority Helper?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's just to me it's a really neat add-on. It shows you pretty much makes your character where anybody can play it if they have the add-on on there.
I need to open up Curse Forge more often because every single one of my add-ons need to be updated.
I do it every day. It says Hekli is a priority helper add-on that can make recommendations several steps into the future. It works by collecting information about the game's current state using a simulation craft-like action priority list to recommend the next ability to use, then modifying the game state and making the next prediction. All DPS specializations are currently supported, as well as all tanking specializations. So, examples, it will give you, like for an example, it will give you 4 boxes, and in those 4 boxes are spells. And that's the rotation that you're supposed to cast them in. And it makes the icons very visible. They're very easy to see. It says the vast majority of cases, the current mode, which is the auto setting, will be optimal. However, sometimes there are special mechanics in a fight that involve wanting to focus on one enemy at a time rather than maximizing DPS across multiple targets. In this case, it can be helpful to force both displays to be shown, which is a AoE and a single target. So other customizations you can use are you can change the direction of your recommendation cues, modify its alignment, turn on Blizzard's overlay, glow for the first recommendation icon in your display. You can specify that up to 10 icons are shown. Change the spacing, the zoom. You can specify some additional information about it. You can use the mask icon to apply a custom style to your displays. You can make them up and down, horizontal, vertical. You might even be able to make them diagonal. I don't know. I haven't checked it out that far. But it's a really, really good add-on. And it's kind of like it looks like a weak R almost. So okay. it's really good. I really like it. I went and checked out some stuff because like I said, I tanked for my Cold War Tin Man, and I was having some problems holding aggro, and I got this add-on, and next week I'm going to try again and see if it's changed my aggro abilities any or changed the way because what it's doing is it's optimizing what I should push being a tank to generate the most threat while generating the most DPS. So I should be able to, because I know we went through some raid logs and I was swiping too much. I wasn't hitting them all enough. So there was just some things I was doing myself that were wrong. And so this is going to help. This is also going to help me out just to make sure that I'm doing things correct.
Yeah, so we shouldn't use it just all the time because it'll be like a crutch. So, you know, you just kind of use it to kind of help, you know, get yourself knowing what a good rotation for it, and then shut it off.
That's really the only reason I wanted to use it is to figure out kind of what the rotation for the tank would be, so I can maximize my damage and threat output. And then once I learn the rotation, I can turn it off. I won't have to use it because I won't even look at it at that point.
So when I actually start playing like a lot, then I'm probably gonna, when I do officially come back, then I'm probably gonna definitely turn it on and get my rotation down and just go quest and probably do some dailies, and then before I do step into some dungeons and stuff like that. But I'm really seriously thinking about bringing my shaman back and maybe doing elemental.
No, I'm telling you, elemental is nasty. Elemental is disgusting.
Too many shamans are doing enhancement, so I'm like, I'm gonna go elemental.
Well, I just don't know if spell enhance is still a thing with the shaman or not.
I don't want to do that.
I know you don't, but
I know.
I like to play those really optimal specs, and spell enhance was a very optimal spec.
Yeah. Okay. So now next week, is it next week that Diablo 4 comes out on the PTR?
I think the 12th.
The stress test.
I think it's like the 12th.
That's next Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So next Friday we'll be recording another WoW podcast, and then I'll probably be going and playing Diablo.
I may be doing that as well.
So, all right. So I think we're done. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's anything much less to talk about next week. Next podcast. You might really want to tune in for that, because we're going to next week start talking about Hall's or the Trial of the Crusade. We're going to start talking about bosses and strategies and stuff for those. We're going to do 3 for the first podcast and then 3 for the next one. So stay tuned for the next couple, and you'll find out maybe some strategies about Trial of the Crusade, and we'll talk about it a little bit and kind of explain where it comes from and how it came to be about.
All right. So until then, have fun playing the game.
As always.
This show is brought to you by Heartland Production Entertainment. If you'd like to help to make the show better, go to patreon.com/heartlandpae.